I think in America in 2023, this trend is the most common bad therapy trend.
Warning, this podcast is for entertainment only and not intended for medical purposes.
You are depressed, and you are depressed because your thoughts are maladaptive, and so then we must find out why your thinking is wrong. But here's the problem, is depressed people tend to actually view the world negatively, but more accurately than others.
Yeah.
So even though they view it accurately, you can't say it's maladaptive. You have to say it, like, what you're seeing is accurate, but it is not helpful.
Totally.
That's a clear distinction, right?
Yep.
You have to be very clear that what you see, because a lot of depressed people will see, like, oh my God, there's this corruption happening and these people struggle, and around the world all the coral is dying, and
nobody really cares about me, which is true, but you don't want to fucking see that too acutely.
Yes. Like, not hordes of people do not care about you. When you walk down the street, people don't walk up and say, hey, oh my God, good to see you, right?
No, 99.999% of people don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah, that's... yeah, what is that? What?
Right, and depressed people see that accurately, and not depressed people are fucking oblivious to that reality.
Yeah, oblivious to that reality. And so, like, just giving this prompt and walking them through a step-by-step thing, saying you're seeing the world wrong, can make people worse.
Okay, so I got a couple theories I want to put forth about what. So the question is, what therapies are bad for a person? That's kind of the question.
That's the question.
Here, I got two simplified answers. I'll see how brief I can be here. Okay, I think any therapy can be bad if it focuses. Okay, so if I simplify here, let's say that humans have a diversity of needs, and to be a healthy human, you have to have each of these needs met to a certain degree, but not too much. So for instance, let's just say self-discipline. You want enough self-discipline to function well, but you don't want so much self-discipline that you're like neurotically, obsessively hard on yourself. So there's sort of like a middle ground. Or self-esteem. You want enough self-esteem that you think you're a good person, but not so much that you think you're the best motherfucker in the whole world. Okay, so if we simplify and say there's a variety of different needs to be healthy, a good therapist will come and kind of assess, okay, they need a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this to get them to kind of the middle ground. But I think what happens is certain therapists have a specific thing that worked really well for them in their life, so they're trying to fucking force feed a lot of it to all their patients. So let's say me cultivating self-discipline worked really well for me, then I decide I'm a self-discipline therapist, and I'm just gonna fucking force feed heavy amounts of self-discipline to everyone always. Yeah. And then some patient comes in who already has enough self-discipline, and that therapist thinks this is the fucking silver bullet, you need more self-discipline, and that doesn't fucking work well for some patients.
Okay,
I think that's the most common thing.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think what you're pointing out is more like therapist-biased error, right? Where you come in and it's like, oh, I'm traumatized, and or I see the world through trauma, so everyone I see has trauma. And so
Yep, exactly.
Right? Like that would be like just human bias error that is just so prevalent in our fucking field, which they tried to train that out of us. They tried really hard to make sure that we all were well designed to not go and behave in that way. Yet,
and fucking so few people, therapists and everything else, so few people can get out of their own bias. It's so hard for humans to get out of
everyone with eating disorders treats eating disorders. I'm overgeneralizing like a motherfucker, right? But yeah.
No, but that bias is so fucking strong. Okay, but now let me let me get on my fucking soapbox and say one thing.
Yes.
So I gave that my general analysis of what's bad therapy. Now, specifically, I think in America in 2023, this trend is the most common bad therapy trend. It's therapists who, from their own biographical experience, have seen that a lot of kids don't get enough compassion, or a lot of kids have trauma or difficulty, and they don't have their painful, traumatic, difficult experiences empathized with enough.
Okay.
Which is true sometimes. But for some reason, the field of therapy has taken that way too far, and therapy becomes a one-trick pony of like, provide empathy and compassion and emotional holding for everyone's trauma. And therapy has just like gone fucking hog wild on just doing that thing. And they're going out and telling everyone they're traumatized and telling everyone they need to get in touch with their feelings more and they need to have empathy for and compassion for their feelings. And therapy is just like overdoing that one thing. And it kind of creates like a victim identity in a whole fucking generation of people.
What's wrong with everyone being victims? Why is that not optimal? Like,
because being in victim psychology is fucking horrible for your mental health and your functioning and your like functioning capacity to work together as like mature adults in society.
Why? Why is that an issue that, like, I think I know. I mean, I have some assumptions, right? Like, okay, if you identify as like, I am helpless, well, it kind of goes against this fundamental idea of what mental health is, right? Like, some would argue that mental health is the capacity to have agency in your own life, right? And if you are...
And that's fucking antithetical to the victim identity.
Okay, right. I was trying to force you to answer it, but then, like
you got all excited.
Like the terrible therapist I am, I just went and fucking answered it anyway. Since this isn't fucking therapy, right? Like that. Yes, I see that that's a problem. Do you think you and I could name a therapy from the past that is by design fucking flawed? Like, what is the dumbest therapy you can think of at this time that has, like, been weeded out, lost? My first reaction to this, no, you go, dude. Can you think of one? Because...
Well, according to what I was saying earlier, it's sort of like there's a place for everything. There's a certain patient that's going to need a certain kind of therapy. So we could talk about primal scream therapy.
That's what I was thinking about.
We could talk about that as being really stupid, and I'm sure it's really stupid a lot of the time. But I bet you anything, there's patients out there that can benefit from it, and there's therapists who are good with those patients, and it's fucking good for them.
God damn it. Yeah, I was hoping to just point out one that's just like across the board ridiculous. And that one seemed ridiculous, but then I'm like, yeah. If you have some kind of thing where you like are really paralyzed in your throat chakra or your whatever you're going to call this ability to project your voice, which I run into tons of people with anxiety. This is a major problem, right?
Totally.
It's a major problem. And so as soon as they get into a meeting, it's hard. They tend to be very quiet. They're afraid, right? Like, yeah, maybe screaming out and practice
would be fucking good ass therapy. Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be a good session for said person potentially.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Potentially.
And we could criticize like movement therapy too. Like expression through. We could criticize that, but same thing. I guarantee that should probably would be good for me.
Yeah. I agree. Right, because it will push you into a place where you feel so embarrassed and just preposterous.
Yes.
Like.
Right.
It might be good for, dude, all of us control freaks.
Right. Yes, it probably is.
All of us who tilt towards, we're going to just tighten down and come up with more and more systems of regulation. God damn it. You're ruining my fucking show. My show where
we're now you and I are going to go both be Google searching fucking movement therapist near me, and we're gonna it's gonna revolutionize our whole lives, dude. We're gonna finally grow old gracefully instead of the stupid shit we're doing now.
Oh my God. Well. I guess that's a wrap, dude.
All right, dude.
Let's
that was good.
Yeah.